Welcome back to the Nik Nak YouTube channel. We're still with Andy Nguyen here. We're going to be going through some of our Week 3 game picks. Those of you who are listening on the podcast, thank you for staying with us. So, just like last week, what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of run down these games. And Nick's not here for this time, but he did send in his guesses. So, I will let Andy go first and give his guess of what the spread of the game will be. And then I will say what mine and Nick's guesses were. And we'll see which one of the three of us came out to be the closest. And then I have the actual spread written down here as well. So
I need to throw in a disclaimer. I am not the best gambler. I have some experience on Bovada, but they're dollar bets most of the time. So
yeah. So
my spreads might be really off, but just a forewarning.
Yeah, but we got plenty of knowledge here. So, but the rest, me and Nick, of course, are pretty experienced in this too. But Andy, we appreciate you giving this a try.
Sure.
So let's get started with the first game of the week. It might be one of the more interesting games as well. Houston at New England. Of course, Jimmy Garoppolo goes down last week, so they're starting the brisket.
Jacoby
Brissett is starting at quarterback in this one, and I didn't know what to make of the line for this one. What were your thoughts before you reveal your guess?
Well, if Garoppolo was healthy and starting, I would have favored New England probably by like 4, but since Jacoby Brissett is starting and it's prime time, and I think this is his rookie start, right?
This is first start.
Okay.
Yep.
I have Houston at 5.5.
Houston laying 5.5.
Minus 5.5.
Yeah. So, Nick's guess was Houston or New England actually -2. My guess was that the game was going to be a pick'em. You were the closest. Or actually, no, sorry, I was the closest. But you were the only one that predicted Houston being a favorite, and Houston is laying 1.5.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they've looked good so far.
Yeah, they have looked good. I think that this is a lot of people just not being able to make anything of what Bill Belichick can do with a rookie quarterback.
Right.
I mean, most coaches you'd expect an issue, but Bill is probably going to come out and make this guy look like Tom Brady, lack of a better word. So we're gonna make our game picks now here. So who do you think is gonna win this game?
If I had to choose,
against the spread.
Against the spread?
Yes.
Well, okay. I'd probably pick Houston to win still.
You'd probably pick Houston to win with the 1.5 points. I gotta agree with you.
I just don't.
I gotta go with Houston on this one.
Yeah, I gotta see this Brissett guy play first before I know for sure.
Yeah, and I think that defense is no joke. And now with the emergence of Will Fuller, that offense is clicking, and Lamar Miller's of course there. So I think that this game's not gonna be close, and I think that Houston pulls it out in New England. So moving on, we got the Cardinals at the Bills, and this was interesting because Rex Ryan said that the Cardinals were quote unquote the team the Bills need to play right now, and it's kind of weird that out of all the teams in the NFL, he thinks I guess one of the best defenses and one of the most efficient offenses is the team that the Bills quote unquote need to play right now. I'll let you go first again on this one. What's your guess for what the spread would be?
I have Arizona -7.
Arizona -7. Nick's guess was that the Bills would be getting 6 points. I guess 5.5 points. They're getting 4.5 points. Man. So I came the closest on that one again. It's not easy, man. It makes you wonder when you make a prediction like that, and then Vegas comes in with something that's completely off from what you thought, and you're like, what do they know? Because these guys get paid a lot of money to set these numbers.
So, do you think the new offensive coordinator on Buffalo is going to make that big of a difference?
I mean, I didn't think that Greg Roman was bad. They scored 31 points last week. I mean, yeah, granted, a lot of it came on two long throws from Tyrod. Right. But at the same time, I don't think the offense was the issue. What do you think? He wants to get Sammy Watkins more involved, and you just dealt Sammy Watkins away, so I'm guessing
that's okay. I mean, if he wants to throw it out to Sammy, I have no qualms. I mean, as long as he can catch it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. I still own Sammy on one team, and he's going to be dealing with foot pain the whole time. But at the same time, I think that it's going to be – I don't know what to make of that team.
I hope Sammy does well. It's not like I want him to see him do badly.
Yeah. Preseason, I predicted this team to be a dumpster fire, and I think they're still going to head that way. I don't think Rex Ryan makes it through the season as the head coach. So, with that said, I'm still going to take the Cardinals, even with the minus 4.5 points on this one.
I'd probably also end up taking the Cardinals too.
Yeah. So that one's a little bit of an easy one. This one's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Raiders at Titans. This is very close.
I had this one as a pick 'em because, well, I just couldn't think of a spread. So,
so yeah, me and you came the closest on this one. We'll tie for the win on this. Nick guessed 2. Nick guessed that the Titans were getting 2 points. Mm-hmm. I guessed that they were getting 1 point. They are actually no, you came the closest.
Oh, yes.
Because the Titans are laying 1 to the Raiders.
Okay.
So with that said, obviously I thought that the Raiders would be the favorite in this game. I'm gonna pick them getting a point against the Titans.
So you pick them to win.
I'm picking the Raiders. Yeah.
I think the Raiders still are gonna win, but
yeah. Well, I mean, if it's a point, then yeah, you're pretty much picking the Raiders to win. Yeah. So you're that, or you're gonna hope for a tie. But that one's kind of hard to pick. Mm-hmm. But these are two teams that have very young offenses, and anything can happen. But they've both been performing, so that's why I thought it'd be close. But I still like the Raiders a little bit better.
Do you think that the Raiders' secondary is kind of people are exploiting them?
I think that it is. They are getting exploited a little bit, but at the same time, I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. So, with that, I mean, it's a young team. They're gonna have their ups and downs. I'm sure they'll get a little bit better as the season goes on. Of course, that pass rush is always going to be there. And I think that team, the sky's the limit for them this year. They're probably one of the teams that a lot of people pick to make a big step this year, and I don't see them not going that direction right now.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr he's looked good so far in both of his games. So
yeah, and of course Amari Cooper's
right.
Amari Cooper. So this was my prediction for the biggest line of the week. I was right, but not to the extent that I thought I'd be. Browns at Dolphins. This one's also a rookie quarterback making his first start. Cody Kessler, the 5th Browns quarterback to start in their last 5 games. RIP RG3. So for this one, I'll let you go first again. What was your guess?
I have Miami at minus 11.5.
Minus 11.5. Okay. That's very close, actually. Nick guessed minus 5, and I guessed minus 5.5. The Dolphins are actually favored by 10 points this week, so you were the closest on this one. So you're not as bad as you thought. So
I feel like this matchup is a trick. I mean, the Dolphins haven't looked good either.
Yeah, no, this is a gotcha game for sure, and you kind of touched on it.
They put up points last week, but they're already down like 3 scores at that point, maybe more, right?
Yeah. So with that said, like if you flash back to the preseason, people talked about Cody Kessler possibly getting into the starting quarterback competition. Of course, that was all lip service at that point. No one had even seen Cody Kessler in practice, but they do really like him as a quarterback. And this has kind of gotcha game written all over it, especially with a line like 10 points.
Right.
And you touched on it. Like, the Dolphins have not looked that good. Like, yes, Devontae Parker came in last week and showed why he was a first-round pick last year. They're going to be starting Jay this week because Aaron Foster is out. Their defense is pretty good, but 10 points to me is just too much, and I'm taking the Browns.
So who do you think Cody Kessler throws to now that Corey Coleman, he broke his hand in practice today, I heard?
I'm guessing Terrell Pryor is going to be one of the targets, and hopefully Barnkowski, Gary Barnidge, gets some looks as well. But he's also going to, and maybe Duke Johnson gets back into the action. We haven't seen him all year. Isaiah Crowell's been taking all the carries, but I think that having a receiving back is going to be good for Cody Kessler to have. So people that are looking for a sneaky DFS play this week, look at your boy Duke. I think that he can probably get in there, and he's probably pretty cheap because he hasn't had many touches the last 2 games. Who's your pick of that game?
I'm just gonna go with Miami. I don't think they're very good, but I don't think they're Cleveland. So
yeah, that was a little hard. So here's another intriguing matchup. We got Baltimore heading to Jacksonville to take on my second favorite team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one's close.
I have this as a pick'em as well.
You have this as a pick'em?
Anything I couldn't get down to like a small number, I just went with a pick'em.
So Nick had Jacksonville laying 3.5 points to the Ravens. I had Jacksonville getting 2 points, and the line was 1.
Oh wow!
So me and you split it on that one.
Take it.
So with Jacksonville +1, it was a little hard for me to pick.
Jacksonville, I don't know. That hype train has been really disappointing so far. I mean, Allen Robinson, he's going to produce. I know that, but it's just a matter of when, I guess.
Yeah, I think that I'm holding on to him wherever I have him.
Yeah, he feels like a pretty good buy low candidate if you can convince the owner.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are panicking about Allen Robinson, and I don't think they should be. Mm-hmm. Bortles, you could tell he was frustrated with his throws last week, and you got to think that he's going to turn that around.
Yeah.
I think that was the San Diego game was a slap in the face that he needed. With that said, I'm still taking the Ravens this week.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore doesn't look like they're not slouching either. Their receivers look good. Their running backs are a little bit of a mess, but Kenneth Dixon's coming back soon, right?
Coming back soon. Not this week, but another guy that you should probably keep an eye out for. Right now, Terrence West and Justin Forsett are holding it down, but I don't think they really inspire much confidence.
It's just a cluster back there.
Yeah, but with that, no, their passing offense is definitely on right now, and I think that continues this week. I'm taking the Ravens. Ravens -1.
I am gonna go the other way and take the Jags, and that may or may not have something to do with me owning both Allen Robinson and Julius Thomas. I want them to
too close to the action, man.
I want them to do well. You know?
No, I do always say that don't take the points against Jacksonville. They usually make you pay for that, but I'm gonna break that rule this week.
Do it for me.
Then we got a line that I was kind of surprised by. The Lions are heading to Green Bay to take on the Packers.
This is their first home game, the Packers?
This is their second home game.
Is it?
No, yeah, you're right. It's their first home game.
Okay. I have Green Bay -4.
Me and Nick both had Green Bay -4.5. It's actually Green Bay -8.
Wow.
So,
jeez.
Last week, yes, one of the most disappointing games of the week was the Titans and the Lions. The Lions end up falling to the Titans at home, and Matt Stafford does not look like the guy who people have been hyping up for the entire offseason under Jim Bob Cooter.
Right.
And after week 1.
And did he get injured?
He did get injured in that game, so he does leave the game briefly. He comes back. Marvin Jones has been productive, but has failed to find the end zone.
Mm-hmm. Golden Tate.
Amir Abdullah is one of the running backs that falls this past weekend, injured foot. He's going to be placed on IR, possibly season-ending. With that said, Dwayne Washington could step in. Could see an increased role, but it'll probably be Theo Riddick early on as a receiving back, keeping that same role in that backfield. I didn't know what to make of this game either, because I mean it's not like the Packers have looked very good.
Yeah, I kind of tuned out of the Vikings game on Sunday. I couldn't hold my interests.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they looked okay against Jacksonville, but they did look kind of not too. For what I saw for the Vikings game, they didn't look too hot.
You can tell there's definitely sometimes Jordy Nelson and Aaron Rodgers look like they've been together forever, and then sometimes you can tell that Jordy Nelson just missed a year.
And I still can't tell if Eddie Lacy actually did P90X or not.
Yeah, he's just been Eddie Lacy. Like, he'll make a play every once in a while, and you're like, oh, yes, he's, breaking out of it.
Coming back, and then
but
lets you down again.
I don't know, man. It's like, that team, I don't know what to make of them. Like, you can't, it's not like you're going to go out and, be able to trade for Aaron Rodgers on the low. No one's going to get rid of him like that. But at the same time, he hasn't been inspiring much confidence. That's why I'm kind of shocked by this 8-point line here.
And, I mean, it's only 2 games. I mean, a few years ago they were 0-2, and everyone was freaking out.
RELAX.
But they're 1-1, so it's only week 3, so I think they'll be okay. They just need to get into a rhythm, most likely.
Yeah, that's. I hope you're right, because I'm taking the Packers.
Yeah.
and the 8 points.
I'll take the Packers too.
Yeah. So okay, now we're gonna move on to the Broncos and the Bengals in Cincinnati. This one, this one's pretty close. The Broncos have looked pretty good, even with Trevor Siemian at quarterback. Their defense is just incredible.
Yeah.
We all knew that. That passing defense, those guys just get at the ball, and I don't know. There's no other way to describe it.
It makes me scared for any fantasy matchup where any of my players is playing Denver that week, just because.
You have AJ Green against
right.
Denver.
Right.
So what are you gonna do?
I have to start him. I mean.
It's AJ Green.
It's AJ Green, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's probably the play. My guess at the line was that the Bengals would be laying 3 points, and Nick guessed that they would be laying 4 points.
When you say laying, you mean like plus?
Minus. So if they're laying points, that means they're gonna be giving some points away.
Well, I have Cincinnati at plus 5.5.
Cincinnati plus 5.5.
I mean,
you're gonna be very disappointed in this line.
I don't like. I mean, I drafted AJ Green in fantasy, but I don't like Andy Dalton that much.
Yeah, this is gonna be probably your worst pick of the day. I hope.
Thanks.
Me and Nick split it. It's Cincinnati minus 3.5.
What?
So you were off by 9 points on that one.
You'll see. That defense.
I mean, I'm sure you can find.
I'm not actually gonna put money down on that.
I'm sure you can find some alternate line and you can put down $1 and get like $6 back or
not
something.
Not that risky.
But so that was a pretty bold choice there. The Vikings are visiting the Panthers. They both, of course, are without their starting running backs this week. Adrian Peterson is out.
Mm-hmm. So it's 2014 again.
Yes, it is.
The McKinnon-Asiata split.
The ass man. The ass man's coming in. What do you think of that running back mix?
Fantasy wise, or just like actual?
Both.
Fantasy wise, I'm just staying away.
You're staying away.
It was a mess 2 years ago, and I don't think it's going to be any less messy this year. I mean, they've said McKinnon's going to start, right? But
yeah.
Asiata's probably going to go in and steal goal line touches. So.
But then again, if you're like, as we talked about, if anyone listened to the podcast in the beginning, we talked about how this year it's even messier running backs because there aren't any workhorses.
That's true.
So a few years ago, you could have probably lost AP and still had one or two solid workhorse running backs on your team. Mm-hmm. This year it's not like that. So what's someone supposed to do when they lose AP? You just got to throw a bunch of things at the wall and hope what sticks and see what sticks. True. So I mean, with that said, I mean I already had McKinnon on my roster. Right, so as a prudent fantasy owner that I am. Right. This bell right here, but. With that, hey, you work really hard, you can get this one day too. But with that, like there's nothing else you can do. You just gotta go out there and get McKinnon or get Asiata, whichever one you believe in. I got into it on Twitter with someone today about what kind of role they're gonna play. He thought that McKinnon at best is a Gio Bernard kind of role, and I feel like McKinnon brings a little bit more to the table than Gio Bernard does.
Well, yeah, but in terms of the role he's playing as like a pass catching back, right?
I mean, in that sense, but McKinnon's gonna run it through the tackles too. Like,
okay, yeah.
Gio's very good at what he does, but you don't expect him to be rushing it for 100 yards in the game. McKinnon could very well do that while adding it through the other component. Asiata, yeah, he's gonna protect the ball. He's gonna get those short yardage gains, but at the same time, I wouldn't sell McKinnon short on his skill set.
Not at all.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, that's
if you have better options. Look elsewhere, yeah. I would say.
And going to the other side, the Panthers lose Jonathan Stewart for a few weeks. A lot of people are jumping on Fozzie Whitaker, but if anyone remembers last season when Jonathan Stewart went out then, it was actually Cameron Artis-Payne that came in.
That's right.
So that one
also stay away from that backfield.
That one you can stay away from because you have no idea what's gonna happen there. Like that's they can come out with literally anyone. It could be someone that we don't even know about yet that comes in and takes that job. So I'm waiting a week probably on that one. But if you have to go out there and pick up somebody desperately,
you have no other options.
Yeah, then go grab one of them. I was a little off on this line. Nick guessed the Panthers minus 5.5. I guessed the Panthers minus 4.5.
I had Carolina at minus 8.5.
You had Carolina minus 8.5. I think you and Nick are going to split this one. It is minus 7. So you're both off by 1.5.
So I know people have been kind of hyping the Vikings defense, but how do you think they're going to do against the Panthers? Because
I think that they're fast enough to definitely contain Cam.
Okay.
I think they're one of the few defenses that can do that. With that said, Calvin Benjamin and Devin Funchess and the rest of the receivers are playing too well, and I think I'm going to take the Panthers minus 7.
Yeah, I mean, of course, going to go with Carolina here.
Yeah, and that's Sam Bradford looked good, but Sam Bradford will show you who he truly is soon enough. So the last 1 o'clock game, we can talk a little bit more about this one. We got the Redskins visiting the Giants. I unfortunately decided to go to the Redskins-Cowboys game last week, and I did not have fun watching Kirk Cousins repeatedly throw balls in the dirt and overshoot receivers running free downfield, and overall just looking lost and not being the quarterback that took us to the playoffs last year. The Giants have those 3 receivers that are the return of Victor Cruz, Odell Beckham, the rookie Sterling Shepard
emerging.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on you want bet out everything that you want about the Redskins right now? Because that's.
I mean,
I'm too close.
I didn't follow the Redskins that closely until RG3 came to the team, so I consider myself a fan from like 2012 onward. That's when I started really paying attention.
Yeah,
it's been pretty rough. I can't say I can relate to how you guys always feel, but this year, it's not looking too good this year so far.
Yeah, it's I have this feeling in my gut that they're gonna come out hot against the Giants this week.
But I mean,
historically, one, they let me down, and two, Kirk does not play well in New York. So
are they playing in New York?
They're playing in New York. So with that said, it's a rough year. They already said that Norman's going to be following Odell all over the field, so they're breaking their defensive game plan already. Which I can't blame them. As much as I love Bashad Breeland, he has not looked good covering the other team's best receiver. But in the same case, I don't think they've been using him the right way in coverage because normally he's better in the press, but they play him 10 yards off Des Bryant, who made him pay over and over again with no help. D'Angelo Hall looks lost at free safety. He's good against the run, but against the pass, it's awful. We can't cover any slot receivers, and I feel like if they drop Odell in the slot, it's going to be a long day for us.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I mean, those receivers are going to be hard to stop, and our defense just... I'm not confident in our defense this year. I mean, and everyone else can see that who watches the games. So. Yeah,
the D-line looks awful, and secondary hasn't been performing to this level, but hopefully they can turn it around this week. Nick guessed -4 for this game. I guess -5.
I am right in the middle, and I guess -4.5.
And you are right, sir. The line is -4.5. So we'll close out the 1 o'clock games with you being right, and we'll take a short break and come back to the Nik Nak Podcast. If you're watching the video, we'll be back in a second. If you're listening to the podcast, enjoy the song. And we're back, ready to go through the 4 o'clock games. Another jam slate this week because the bye weeks have not started yet. We're going to start with the Rams coming east to visit the Bucs. The Bucs coming up with a big loss to the Cardinals last week. Jameis did not look good. The rest of the offense did not look good. But I think this game is kind of going to be a little bit of a blowout that we see with the teams from West coming east. And the Rams, of course, are the Rams.
Yeah, I think the Bucs are going to bounce back this week. I'm curious to see how the backfield in Tampa Bay is going to be with Doug Martin out for a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's Charles Sims and Jaquiz Rogers, right?
Jaquiz Rogers, yep.
Splitting the backfield.
Of course, you might remember Jaquiz Rogers from his heyday in that Falcons offense with your boy Matt Ryan. Who you picked up today to replace Kirk Cousins?
That's right.
So no longer Twerk Cousins. I don't even know how to pronounce your team name now.
I think it's Matt Twerkian.
Matt Twerkian? He's got to keep that twerk in there.
Yeah. And so I have a question for you. Do you think Todd Gurley will actually get to use his legs this week?
I think he's going to have to.
Will he break for a big run is what I really meant to ask.
I think he will. I think he gets one this week. Okay. I think that they know they have to get him going. He knows he has to get going, and he's too good to be contained for this long. And even with Tampa Bay's run defense.
So you think this is the week?
I think this is the week that he comes back. But we'll get to that part later. But I think it's going to be a big week for Mike Evans, too.
Mike Evans, okay.
I think that if you watch the game last week, even with Patrick Pearson on him, he scores a touchdown. Jameis looks for him deep.
Right.
Almost on every drive. And he's almost gets it on every drive.
I mean, who's the other receiver? Vincent Jackson.
Vincent Jackson is there. And they have Austin Severian Jenkins at tight end, but Mike Evans, I think he's you get that feeling when you watch them play right now that he is on the verge.
They have that connection.
He's about to break through and do things that we expected him to do when he got drafted at Texas A&M. So I think that he has I think this is it. I think this is the week that he goes off. And Nick guessed the line was 4.5, and I guessed it was 5.5.
I have Tampa Bay -6.
-6. I nailed it on the money. It was -5.5.
That was close.
So, and with that said, after everything I just said, I'm taking the Bucs -5.5
for sure. I mean, until I see Todd Gurley actually break for a run, I'm not a believer of the Rams.
And I don't even think that him alone can.
Well, yeah,
get the job done as long as Case Keenum's a quarterback. I'm not going to be picking the Rams anytime soon, even with the points. So next up, we're going to go to the 49ers visiting the Seahawks. The Seahawks are stumbling a little bit with Russell What do you think of his prospects for the rest of the year?
I mean, that offense, when he can't scramble, they look rough.
Yeah, it's with that offensive line, the issues that they have. They haven't been able to rebound since making that.
It's kind of jarring, the difference between him being able to escape out of the pocket and him just kind of
sitting there,
either having to hand it off or just
that's his best ability, and it's taken away from him. And now we get to see how good Russell Wilson truly is in the pocket.
Right.
And right now, I don't think he's healthy enough to show us that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the 49ers have looked. We saw him look good on Monday night against the Rams a few weeks ago. Last week, not so good.
Blaine Gabbert still got a touchdown, So.
Yeah, he did. So they're gonna go into Seattle. Nick guessed it was a -6.5 in favor of Seattle. I guess -6.
I also have Seattle at -6.5.
You two are closer than I am. It's -9.
Yeah, I was being a little generous. I don't really know. I feel like San Francisco is kind of a toss-up week to week. They're either gonna do bad or do terrible.
So you can tell by my guess of -6 that I'm going to be taking the 49ers this week. I don't think that they're that far apart, and I think that this is going to be a low-scoring game.
So how do you think the injuries to, say, Doug Baldwin and Thomas Rawls affect the outcome of this game?
Well, I think that Thomas Rawls, all he had was a contusion. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's a bruise. So I think he'll be fine this week. Whether he's going to get the starting nod again, we'll see. But I think that ultimately they end up being okay, and I don't think it affects. I don't think it affects both of them that much.
So you're going with San Francisco?
I'm going with San Francisco plus 9 on this one.
I'm actually just gonna stick with Seattle here.
You're gonna stick with Seattle -9.
They don't.
That's a big gap, dude.
Not -9. Well, wait, that's the line.
Yeah.
Forget it. I'll take Seattle anyway.
That's a lot of confidence. So all right, now the Jets are visiting the Chiefs. Arrowhead. You kind of hear about how big of an advantage they have there a lot. So Nick guessed on this one -2 in favor of the Chiefs. I guess -4 in favor of the Chiefs. What do you got?
I have this as a pick'em.
You have it as a pick'em?
Yeah.
So it's -3. So me and Nick split this one. I mean, I guess.
I mean, I feel like the Jets, their offense.
On a neutral site, it would have been a pick'em, but we're not at a neutral site. We're at Arrowhead. So.
Okay. Oh, okay. You did tell me that home teams,
That 3-point. You got that 3-point buffer in there. The Jets did look good last Thursday night against the Bills on offense. Mm-hmm. Their defense is pretty solid despite the Bills putting up those points. But besides those 2 big throws by Tyrod, they were pretty dominant. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs here.
Before I pick, do you think the Jets' offense is as effective without Brandon Marshall? I mean, do we know if he's playing this week?
He's gonna play this week.
He's gonna play.
Okay. Yeah.
He might just be out there as like a decoy, maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, he's kind of hurt, but at the same time, we saw him come back from last week's injury.
That's true.
And he was still kind of effective. Even then, Quincy Nonwell looked great. Eric Decker still looks great. So I'm gonna take the Chiefs anyway.
I'll probably take the Chiefs too.
So laying the 3 points.
I want to see Jamal Charles come back.
I think we all do, but Spencer Ware's been killing it in the meantime. Next up, we got the Chargers visiting the Colts in Indy. This one was I think it's gonna be a pretty high scoring game. 2 teams that don't really play much defense. Mm-hmm. Even with Keenan Allen out, we've seen the Chargers passing attack not really take a step back. But now Danny Woodhead's gone, right. And Melvin Gordon. It's the Melvin Gordon show. They pick up Dexter Lackluster today, but or Dexter McCluster, sorry. But they're gonna. I don't think we really see him, even though he's been in this offense before under Ken Wisnut. I don't think we really see him play much of a role this week. I think it's gonna be Melvin Gordon's job. Going to Indy though, they have an injury of their own. Dante Moncrief is out for a few weeks.
That's right.
Philip Dorsett was one of the hot ads. A lot of people think that he's going to have a big role based on the targets he got the first 2 weeks, even with the other 2 receivers, T.Y. Hilton and Dante Moncrief on the field. But with that said, I guess -2 in favor of the Colts. So did Nick. What do you got?
I seem to have ignored the home field advantage and have San Diego -3.
-3? It is Indy -3. So, good try. It's all right. We'll give it a this. And now we go to the Battle of Pennsylvania. The hype boy Carson Wentz hosts the Pittsburgh Steelers and their offense.
I think this is going to be an interesting matchup. I think it's Carson Wentz's first, big real test. I mean, played the Browns week 1, and the Bears week 2. So I think this is going to be an interesting game to keep an eye out for. I feel like they're going to be playing from behind a lot here.
Yeah.
So it's going to be. I kind of want to see how he does under pressure. So see if he's a real deal.
Definitely, yeah. So we're gonna see what he's like. He might get Zach Ertz back. Who knows? But at the same time, that home crowd's gonna be behind him the whole way.
Philly.
And but the Steelers offense, of course, no joke. Ben Roethlisberger has gone into many places and won games,
including Washington
week 1. Yeah, that's I think he's gonna go in there, and it's gonna be a good matchup. I guess that the Eagles are gonna get 1.5, and Nick guessed 1 point.
You guys are way more generous than I am. I have Pittsburgh -8.
Okay. The Eagles are going to be getting 3.5 points this week.
It's just getting worse.
So, with that said, I'm taking the Steelers to win this one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
so with the 3.5.
For all I said about Wentz, I'm still going to take the Steelers.
Yeah, I think that offense is too good. D'Angelo Williams is on fire. He's unreal, and I think that we're probably gonna see a pretty one-sided game this week. Primetime Sunday night, the beaten up Bears minus Jay Cutler, led by Brian Hoyer, and his triumphant return to Texas, goes to Dallas, to the Jerry Dome.
It's gonna be ugly.
Against the Cowboys, who of course beat the Redskins last week. I got this game at -3.5. Nick had it at -4.
I have the words "Can we not" written as my spread, and then next to that I have an actual spread. Let's say to Dallas -9.5.
Dallas -9.5. You came close. Dallas -7.
I don't see Brian Hoyer doing anything effective.
Just like even on top of Jay Cutler, they got all these injuries on defense. Jeremy Langford's looked lost. Jordan Howard might get some more run this week.
Yeah, there's talks of Jordan Howard taking over.
Yeah,
picking up the slack.
So I don't know what to think of the Bears right now. I think that Cowboys are for the most kind of rolling. The part that's kind of giving them issues is the part that we all thought would be not an issue is the running game. Ezekiel Elliott's been put the ball on the carpet a few times last week. The offensive line's been blocking, but the rookie can't hit the hole. But I think they figured it out at home this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just comes with time. He'll figure it out eventually.
And like primetime players make primetime plays on primetime. I think Ezekiel is still a primetime player, so I think he gets it done. I'm gonna take the Cowboys -7.
I'll take the Cowboys here too
to beat the Bears. So last game, primetime Drew hosts your boy Matt Ryan at home.
He's burned me so many times in the past, but I'm feeling this matchup this week.
I don't see how you can pick against primetime Drew, dude. I think that Superdome on Monday or Sunday Night Football, you got to play him. You got to do whatever you do. Get him in your line, trade for him, put him in DFS, anything, and let him go. And I think that it's gonna happen again this week. I got the Saints -4.
I had this as a pick'em. I really just want it to be a slobber knocker. I think this is gonna be the highest.
What is a slobber knocker?
Slobber knocker, they're just scoring points left and right, man.
That's not a...
Book it. This is going to be the highest scoring game of the week on Monday night. And I'm not saying that just because I have Matt Ryan, but...
No, I don't disagree with you. I'm not going to disagree with you. I mean, based on the other matches we ran through already, I think that this is definitely going to be the highest scoring game on Monday night.
Yeah, so I think it's... I couldn't come up with a good spread, so I just defaulted to a pick'em here, but...
Nick has the Saints -2.5. He was a little bit closer than I was. It's Saints -3. So Vegas thinks this is going to be a pretty close game between two teams, and I can't disagree with it. So we're gonna we'll run through. I'll put up our picks on the screen for you guys to look over again. But Andy, we'll come back to close thing out. But thanks for guesting on this week's.
Thank you for having me
for this week's week 3 game picks.
My first time, a little shaky, but it's been a fun experience.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure like a lot of our listeners and viewers can relate to this. I mean, a lot of people are kind of getting into this. There's some pros out there that are watching this as well, but I think a lot of people are trying to get their footing, and like I'm sure they can relate to you in this, where you can give your reasoning for these picks, and you did. So yeah, we'll be back.